This is Andy Gutierrez from StarWars.com, and you are listening to Coffee with Kenobi with Dan Z. This is the podcast you're looking for.
I am wondering, why are you here?
I'm looking for someone.
To all who come to this happy place, welcome.
But this story begins on Disneyland's second day. Because on that day, a special young boy attended the park for the first time of many. And that boy was George Lucas.
Kid, I'm about to let everyone in on the secret.
Are we there yet? Hi!
You just judge other people's orders. I have a hot chocolate for Dan. What a dork. Grow up, Dan.
Han Solo, Rebel Soldier, Lando Calrissian, and Bespin Guard, each sold separately. From Star Wars, The Empire Strikes Back Collection, new from Kenner.
This is Vanessa Marshall, Harrison Dula from Star Wars Rebels, and you're listening to Coffee with Kenobi.
Hello, my friends, and welcome to Coffee with Kenobi. This is your spoiler-free place for Star Wars community and conversation. I'm your host, Dan Zayer, thrilled to be talking Star Wars with each and every one of you. Whether you are a fan of Star Wars films, Disney Plus live action and animation, books, comics, collectibles, or Star Wars opportunities at the Disney theme parks, you are among friends as we virtually share a cup of coffee together while talking about this galaxy far, far away. Thank you to the official travel partner of Coffee with Kenobi, MBI, and Mouse Fan Travel. If you are interested in a no-cost, no-obligation quote for your next vacation, check out www.coffeewithkenobi.com/mousefantravel and let them know Coffee with Kenobi and Dan Zayer sent you. This show is also sponsored by Thomas Coffee, a freshly roasted artisan coffee expertly roasted since 1905. They are providing customers of all taste palates with a delicious coffee profile customizable with 25 flavor offerings. Truly a taste for everybody and an experience with every cup. I have a limited time discount code exclusively for CWK listeners. Be sure to use the code DANZCWK10, that's in all caps, DANZCWK10 for 10% off your first order. On today's show, I am joined by Tania Lamb and Shawn Degenhart as we brainstorm and wish and hope and fantasize about our dream Star Wars Disney theme park projects. So pull up a chair, grab your favorite coffee mug, and let's have some coffee with Kenobi. Joining us today for a cup of coffee to talk about a topic I'm really looking forward to. Now, is anything going to come out of this conversation? I don't know if Disney's going to be listening, but I know the three of us are going to have a lot of fun sharing our opinions for you about think of it as our Star Wars Disney theme park wish list. And there's no such thing as too big or too small. We're going to throw some ideas out there. See if Uncle Bob is listening, if he would like to take us up. We're available for consultations or what have you. But I keep saying let's bring in our guest host for this evening. First, from the Hyperion Hub, you have heard him before. And I think you were on, Shawn, we talked about the Andor finale. This is Shawn Degenhart from the Hyperion Hub.
Hey there. Glad to be here.
It's great to have you, my friend. And you just took your daughter out to California. It was her first time at Disneyland. It sounded like they had an amazing trip, which you profiled on your show.
Yeah, we did. We had an awesome time, just the two of us. You can do a lot more with two than you can with six. So I think she appreciated that as well. But in addition to Disneyland, we got to see John Williams at the Hollywood Bowl, which was life-changing. It was amazing. So yeah, we had a great trip.
I love it. Well, yeah, be sure to listen to Hyperion Hub to hear more behind the scenes of that. We also have another guest. I do not remember the last time you were on the show, Tania, but it's always a pleasure to chat with you. From Little Lamb Chops, Tania Lamb.
Hi, thank you for having me again. It's always fun to be here.
Absolutely. So I've got the two of you on because in addition to loving chatting with the both of you, you're both Disney experts. You're both avid theme park enthusiasts. Easy for me to say. Tania loves it so much she even lives in Orlando. I
basically moved to Orlando just to be close to Disney World because I'm a freak like that.
Hey, I think we respect that and we understand. We might even be a little bit jealous of that. So we're going to go through our top fives. I have them ranked from 5-1, just like naturally, just Casey Kasem style. I do have some honorable mentions. We'll kind of see how things go. But Tanya, I'm going to start with you. So what is number 5 you have on your list?
On my dream list that Disney would bring. Okay, so my number 5 is, it's something that they already had, but I wish that they would bring back. So I wish that they would bring back Star Wars weekends.
Are you going to expand on that?
Yes.
It helps on a podcast.
I really loved the vibe of Star Wars weekends because there were so many fans who came, and the whole weekend was, I feel like Galaxy's Edge, like I'm grateful, right? I'm grateful for Galaxy's Edge, but sometimes I just think it's not enough, or it's an afterthought, or I don't know. Maybe I'm disenchanted a little bit because I live so close. But Star Wars weekends was just so much energy and so much Star Wars in the parks, just as far as like parades or shows or characters. Like I just felt like there was a lot going on, and now it just seems kind of dead.
You know, Star Wars weekends, the first time I went to Star Wars weekends, I was going there and I didn't even realize it was Star Wars weekends. I just happened to hit the lottery. It's when I first met Ashley Eckstein and Dave Filoni. They were just up and comers in the world of Star Wars, which sounds funny to say, but you're right. The energy there, it was like kind of a mini celebration, and it was at Hollywood Studios, which I think was Disney MGM Studios at the time. I think that was even before the transition. Does that sound right, time-wise?
I think it was still Hollywood. I mean, I think it was back then too, when it was MGM, but then
yeah, so they did it for
it was
both.
still Hollywood Studios.
Yeah, that was pretty special. I would put that alongside Galactic Nights. I love when they did Galactic Nights. Last one I think they did was there was one in 2017 when The Last Jedi came out, and that was the last one. Similar to Star Wars weekends, but they had specialty foods, and there's always this great merchandise that you could only get for Star Wars weekends. It was a blast. That was a great way to start it off. And I'm glad you came out of your shell and explained your rationale too. All right, Shawn, what is your number 5?
Okay, I have a qualifier first.
Okay.
I want to remove any timeline qualifications for things in the park. So that's just taking that globally. Okay, I don't want to be bound to a certain time. So my top one, and everything else will fall from that. I want a 5th gate. I want Coruscant. I want the Jedi Temple at the hub. And then I want to be able to go to Endor, and I want to go to Bespin, and I want to go to Hoth, and I want to go to Mustafar.
Whoa.
I want all these different lands with the Jedi Temple at the center.
So like an actual entire theme park.
A new 5th gate. Yep.
Wow. Well, undoubtedly, that would be hugely popular for us. But how would you make it different than Galaxy's Edge, besides the lands themselves?
Again, taking them out of the timeline.
Sure.
I want to be in the timeline that each of those lands, that we experience those lands in. So if we're on Tatooine, I want to do some exploring. I want to do some pod racing. If we are on Bespin, I want to explore Cloud City. If we are on Coruscant, I want to go to the Jedi Temple. I want to do some exploring in the archives, those type of things.
Oh, this is cool. Now that you were really thinking big.
That's big. Yeah, that's big sky.
That's big. I like that. That's a great one. My number 5 is it involves Disney and Star Wars collaboration, but it involves the cruise line. So Star Wars Day at Sea. I don't know that they've done Star Wars Day at Sea over the past 2 years or so, but it was always a really big event. And I'm pretty sure it takes place in February or March, typically. Now I'm a teacher. So if I want to do something Disney related, it has to be during the week of Christmas or the week after Christmas, which is beyond insane. It's like the Super Bowl there. It's so busy. I'm guessing, Tiny, even you probably don't like going around Christmas Day or the day after because it's just so busy.
No, I do not.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And I in the summertime, they don't have Star Wars Day at Sea. So when they had it, I could never go. I wish they would bring it back. I would love to see it heavily themed again. I know that they've got the Hyperspace Lounge, which of course we're taking listeners on in the summer 2025 with Mouse Fan Travel. So we've got a lot of, that'll be fun and exciting, but there's something really neat about Star Wars Day at Sea, and Pirate Night became Star Wars themed, and everyone's cosplaying on the ship in Star Wars attire. It just sounded really fun. There's some great coffee mugs that came out of it, which of course I'm a sucker for. So that would be my number 5.
I actually went to Star Wars Day at Sea January of 2022.
That might be the last time they did it.
I think that year is the last year that they did it, and then I'm not sure if they changed it from that to the now Pixar Day at Sea.
Oh, and was it cool?
Yeah, it was. So when I went, though, it was still kind of COVID restrictions. So we were still wearing masks on the ship, like in enclosed spaces, and then you could take them off outside. So it was, my experience was different because there was hardly anybody on the ship, which was really nice for lines, character lines, shows, that kind of thing. But then, all my pictures with the characters on the ship are in masks. So it's kind of, but it was still super fun.
I bet. A nice little time capsule situation, I'm sure, with seeing the masks. Isn't it funny when you look at the pictures and vacations and you're wearing a mask? Like, whoa, it's just crazy. Anyway, Tania, since you're on a roll here, let's go to your number 4.
So my number 4 is I want, how they sell blue milk, green milk. I want like all of the colors of milk, and then I want them to be different textures, and because I feel like the blue milk it's like a smoothie texture that they have, but it's not a smoothie. And so I don't like it. And so I want just different, maybe I just want more snack options.
So the blue milk and green milk option, the Halcyon, is a little bit different texture. And then the one in Disneyland is the ones where you can get blue or green with different kinds of liquor in there, right? No, that's in Florida.
Yeah.
And at Disneyland, you can get a sour one, or you can get a spicy one as well. But they're all still
like a milkshake. That's what I want.
That's fair. And so I thought this was going to be your chance to rant and rave about how you don't like the green milk. You were going to do that, weren't you?
I don't like the blue milk or the green milk. The green milk is really foul, but listen, the first time, so when they first opened Galaxy's Edge at Disneyland, neither one of them I could drink, which is really rare for me because I will eat or drink anything. And then I'm pretty sure they changed it. So now the blue one is, I can drink it fine, but I don't like it. And then the green one is just kind of like gum paste.
I love the green one. I swear by that one. And I didn't initially either. So I think you're right. I think they tweaked it.
I know a lot of people who do like it. So that's why taste buds are different.
It's true.
But we've seen where the green milk comes from.
That's true.
I wouldn't want to know where the other milks come from.
Yeah, well, that's backstage. Yeah. All right, Shawn, let's go to your number 4.
Okay, you know what you like to do on a very hot day when you're in the parks and you need a break about 2:00 in the afternoon, and you go visit either Great Moments with Mr. Lincoln or you visit the Hall of Presidents. I went to Hall of Jedi. Whether hologram or, live in-person audio animatronics, each of them telling their story, history about them. I think that would be really fascinating.
Your list is already cooler than mine. You're really being really imaginative with this. Yeah, and you're like we're not getting rid of the Hall of Presidents because that would be like a pitchfork.
No, not at all.
In situation for the classic Disney purist, but yeah, that could be in your Star Wars theme park, right? All these are in your Star Wars theme park,
right? All of them. Yep.
I love it. Well, I hope they invite me to the media event because that sounds fun. I'll bring you as a guest since it was your idea. Well, actually, they're probably going to bring you.
Yeah, I'll bring you.
Oh, thank you. That seems more appropriate. All right, number 4 for me is probably the one that's the most plausible or doable on my list, I would think. In Animal Kingdom, the Dino, what's it called? Dino Adventure. What is that thing? The yelling, the ride where it's so loud.
Like
Dino
Dinosaur?
Land. Yeah, Dinosaur. Yeah, Dinosaur. Wow, they come up with that name.
The one
Dinosaur.
where there's dinosaurs inside?
Yes, that one. That
Okay.
one. So complicated. That ride is so loud. I mean, it's fine. It's fun. But on the West Coast, this isn't Star Wars related, but it is Lucasfilm related. You've got the Indiana Jones attraction and the Forbidden Eye. That is one of the coolest rides on the planet. Take that, bring it over to Animal Kingdom like it's been rumored for so long, and make Dinosaur an Indiana Jones area and make that the Indiana Jones ride, the attraction. I think that would just be so cool. You got instant buy-in. It's already got an IP. Heck, have Harrison Ford come out and do the voice and redo the voice on that thing. I think that would be so cool. So that's my number 4.
I'm down with that.
All right. So it shall be done. Let's go to number 3, Tanya.
All right, number 3. So I want a little, like, I love the dark side of Star Wars, and so I kind of want an area that is a little bit darker. And I want a show where, like, you know how at the end of Rogue One, where Darth Vader just comes out like a baddie and he's just like chopping everybody and he's like, "Bruh, bruh." Okay, that's what I want. Like, I want that show on stage so I can just watch him like kill everybody.
Wow. I have to put an explicit warning for may frighten younger children. So, Tanya, did you do the Star Wars the Void, the virtual reality thing they did at Disney Springs?
No, I don't think I did I think there was another one. I didn't do the Star Wars one.
So at the end of that, Vader comes out and he walks towards you, and it has that Rogue One vibe, but because you're doing the whole virtual reality thing and it's just so beautifully done, you felt like you were about to become the pinata, the Vader's red lightsaber. So that made me think of that. That would be so like a stage show, kind of like the Frozen sing along, but Darth Vader's not singing, of course.
Yeah, he's just like slashing people with the lightsabers.
Awesome.
That's what I want.
Okay, I love it. Okay, let's go. How do you transition from that, Jen? I don't know.
I actually do have a transition.
Oh, good.
I want a Mustafar roller coaster.
Okay. What's it look like?
I want to be floating on those panels over the lava because I've done the Void, so that's kind of where I'm pulling some of this from.
Great. Yeah.
I want to be floating over that. I want to have maybe some lightsaber battles that maybe we're engaged in. Okay. You know, maybe we've had a little training ahead of time, and that's just part of the queue. But I think that would be going through Vader's castle. I think that could be awesome.
Are we doing a launch? I'm sometimes a little reticent to do anything with a launch.
You got to have a launch. Start at the top of his castle and drop down.
Okay, well then I guess that'll be the one thing I don't ride that's Star Wars related.
Why are you anti-launch?
I'm not anti-launch. I'm anti-drop. I don't like heights, and I don't like the feeling of dropping. It's not my favorite thing. Now I don't mind. Actually, I love rock and roller coaster. That doesn't bother me. Everest is great. So none of the roller coasters at Disney bother me at all. I think they're fun. But like when I see the Hulk at Universal Studios, I just don't think I could do that. So if that's the kind of launch you're talking about, you're going to have to count me out.
Oh, definitely. Got to have that.
Okay. All right. My number 3. This is similar to the first one you mentioned, Shawn. But I thought I appreciate the initial idea that they didn't want Galaxy's Edge to be Tatooine and Bespin and things like that because they wanted you to feel like you're a character living your own unique Star Wars story. I understand that. Personally, I like Shawn's idea better, but my idea was just going to be to take Galaxy's Edge, what we have, and find some land, extend a little bit, and create a Hoth area and a Tatooine area. Because they're the two extremes, temperature-wise, Tatooine, you wouldn't have to simulate very much because you're in the Florida heat. Disneyland, it just kind of depends on when you're there. But wouldn't it be cool because Disney is so great about engaging all the senses? So what if when you go to Tatooine, they've got these like hidden heat lamps in these rocks and you're walking to them and it's extra warm and they do something with the smell and you just feel like you're in an arid place. And then you walk underneath this bridge or through this little mountain and suddenly becomes a glacier and you're on Hoth and it's really, really cold and the cast members there. depending on their level of fandom or how sensitive they are to cold, and they're Floridian, so their blood's probably a lot thinner. They're going to get colder a lot easier. They're all wearing their coats and walking through, and you can get snow cones, and you can do tauntaun rides, and kind of like a la Dumbo and things like that. It could be like a kiddie area. Then you could like fly a snow speeder. I think that would be great. And I kind of come from that Empire Strikes Back generation anyway. But I think if you pull stuff like that out and let people experience the things in the movies that they got to see and enjoy, like they do at Universal Studios with Harry Potter, for example, I think that would be a huge one.
Definitely.
All right, Tanya, we're flying through these things. What is your number 2?
Okay, so my number 2 actually goes with yours because I want a Hoth themed something. And I think it's kind of like what you said, because of the extremes, like it's just so hot in Florida, that I think it would be really fun to have that, kind of like they have Blizzard Beach, that water park theme over there. So I feel like they could do the same kind of theme with Star Wars and then make me feel a little cooler.
That would be cool. So where you were from before you lived in Orlando, was it colder there, or was it more like Florida heat still?
Yeah, I lived in Virginia, so we had the 4 seasons. So it would snow there and stuff.
Okay. So you probably don't miss the snow, but you'd like it in the theme park. I could get that.
I missed the snow for a week. Like I wish that I could have it around Christmas time.
Absolutely.
But overall, the winters in Florida are a lot lovelier.
I think many people would agree with you on that one. Yes.
Usually about the third week of January is when we start getting a little weary.
Yes, it's true. It's true. Or like my wife says, it's similar to what you said, Tanya, is I would love snow on Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, and then it can all go away.
Yeah.
All right, Shawn, number 2.
Okay, I want to build my own pod racer, kind of like a test track kind of situation. I am not normally a pod racing fan, but I think that would be kind of cool. Lots of opportunities with, constructing your own with the parts that you've got available to you, and then kind of, expanding on Star Tours a little bit.
That's a great one too. And it would go along the lines, like you said, of the sort of the engine that is Test Track. Mm-hmm. They've already got an idea there of how they can make that work. So then,
right.
I remember when I worked at Disney, when Test Track first opened and they were testing it, and you could hear like the vroom, and they were worried about it staying on the track and stuff like that. So the pods would already be secure because they've had a lifetime of experience kind of mapping that thing out. That's a great one too. And then you could leave, you go through the gift shop, and you could purchase your own little.
Exactly. Yeah.
I love it. All right. My number 2 is an attraction I think would be amazing. And I want you to think about Flight of Passage. As much as I love Rise of the Resistance, I think the Guardians of the Galaxy coaster is about as good as it gets. It's impossible not to be just smile yourself into oblivion on Guardians of the Galaxy. But I think Flight of Passage is the best experience, the best ride, the best everything. When you're sitting on those, what are they called? Dragon monkeys? I don't know what they're called. I'm not an Avatar person. When you're sitting on, do you know? Banshees.
Yeah,
I like Dragon monkey. Sounds cool. It sounds like a name you'd find on like on Mortal Kombat. Anyway, so you're sitting on these things, you can feel them breathing, all that stuff. That's also cool. But what if you had a similar construct, but you're piloting an X-Wing and you get in the cockpit and you've got an astromech behind you and they lower you in, and then you've got this massive screen in front of you, and it's so immersive, and you've got a joystick and you can control yourself moving as you're looking at, and you can go in and blow up the Death Star or whatever different ones. You could change the missions all the time. I just think people would go wild for that thing. X-Wings have been around since Star Wars was first on screens in 1977. I just think an X-Wing attraction, plus being another Star Wars attraction, will be an absolute grand slam.
This is Vanessa Marshall, and you're listening to Coffee with Kenobi.
As I mentioned at the top of the show, I have a brand new sponsor I am working with. They are Thomas Coffee. You probably saw some images on Instagram and Facebook and Twitter. And as you know, I do not work with companies endorse them, or support their products unless I actually like the people, the organization, and of course the product itself. And I am legitimately happy because I wanted another sponsor for Coffee with Kenobi that was involving coffee, and then it just worked out beautifully that I met the creators and owners of Thomas Coffee. They have over 25 different flavors of coffee, including classics like almond, hazelnut, French vanilla. There are so many combinations. I personally have the cinnamon, and I totally love it. So much so, and I mentioned this on the live show the other day, but I normally have 1 cup of coffee. As soon as I tried this, I had 3 cups in one day. Now, I had a lot more caffeine than I usually do, but I'm telling you, they are really, really terrific. And for the more adventurous coffee drinkers, flavor offerings include banana hazelnut, chocolate raspberry, maple bacon, and more. They also have 5 different single origin coffees. They have partnered with Sally Sue Coffees as well, so you might see and hear about that. And they also offer a variety of different blends and roast profiles. Dark, medium, light, whatever you like, Thomas Coffee has it for you. Thomas Coffee started in 1905 and has grown and become established since then. They roast their coffee in-house to make sure they are sending out the best products they can offer to customers, and they ship nationwide. You can also check out their social media on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok at Thomas Coffees. Now, for listeners of the show, if you use the code DANZCWK10, all one word, in caps, DANZCWK10, you'll get 10% off your first order. It's thomascoffee.com, and remember that code, DANZCWK10, for 10% off your order.
That takes me back to Showbiz Pizza in the early 80s with that trench run game that they had. Yeah.
That thing is fun. There's in McLean, Illinois, there's an arcade that has that game there.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Have to check that out.
It's pretty good. All right, Tanya, we are down to your top Star Wars Disney theme park wish list idea.
Okay, so I want more attractions, right? Because that's why we go to theme parks too, is to ride things. And so I kind of had 2 idea-ish. So one of them was like you were talking about pod racers. So if they could have like a pod racer race, you know how they have in California Adventure Radiator Springs racers, and how you can kind of race people like that and go through and different areas and lands and stuff, and then you end up racing at the end. Or else I want a have you ever ridden Hagrid's at Universal Studios?
The
motorbike?
No, I have not.
Okay, so that is probably my all-time favorite theme park ride.
Wow. I don't even know anything about it. I just know that it breaks down a lot, or used to.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I mean, so does everything at Disneyland. So, yeah. Okay. So Hagrid's is you're riding a motorbike. So there's 2 parts. One, you're next to, so one person is on the bike. It's actually like a bike, and then it has the little sidecar, and so another person's there. So you take off. It has a launch, but it also goes up, and the track is broken, and then you go downstairs, then you go backwards. So it's like a combination of, I would say, Everest. It's a combination of Rise of the Resistance. It's just from all of the elements that it has. So it's amazing.
Wow.
I love it. I even like it better than Cosmic Rewind.
Wow.
Which I really love.
Yeah.
And so I wish they would have like something like that, but like with a speeder bike. So it's a roller coaster, but it's more thrilling than like a family coaster, right? Like Seven Dwarfs or something like that. But it's not so intense like Hulk, where not everybody wants to ride it. It's that good middle ground. So that's my wish list. I just want another thrill ride because I really like Rise of the Resistance when it's working properly and all the elements are working. Millennium Falcon is not my favorite though. So that's why I worry about the kind of ride that you're talking about, because I just don't know if they could get it right.
Well, they did for Flight of Passage.
I actually don't like Flight of Passage.
Oh, are you sure?
Oh.
Are you sure? Do you have a reason?
Yes, because it makes me motion sick.
Oh, well, that's extremely valid.
That means it's doing its job.
Yeah. I mean, everybody else I know loves it, but it's just for the people it makes motion sick. It's not as fun. I go on it, but I just close my eyes.
So that is so, and I think that's part of the challenge of Smuggler's Run is that for as cool as what the queue, getting in there, getting your picture at the sabacc table, or not the sabacc table, but the Dejarik chess set table, and then going down and sitting there, all amazing. But I feel like the cockpit view itself could be a little more. I think it could look a little more like you're not staring at a screen. But then it would make you motion sick.
Yeah, well, I actually do get motion sick on Millennium Falcon too. And so I think if I'm pilot, then you get a better view of everything. But then the other 4 people don't really have that much to do. And so it's, for as cool as it is outside, like I love looking at the outside, walking through the queue. It's just the payoff in the end isn't as big as I would like.
Okay, that is fair. Now, for your attraction, do you have a particular character or theme or planet or concept? Because I'm assuming you don't want to be a motorcycle and sidecar unless we're going to be Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade.
No, I didn't get that far. I didn't know I was supposed to be that detailed. I wasn't as prepared as Shawn.
Well, I don't think anyone is. That Shawn's really,
he's really killing it tonight.
He is.
It's only my second time, so I'm still learning the ropes here.
All right, well, Tania, we will table that, and I want you to brainstorm some. Okay. I think what if we could attack the Death Star? We could be in the AT-AT battle like in Hoth. That would be pretty fun. You got to go backwards. That would be fun.
A battle, that would be good.
Okay. At the end, Darth Vader chasing you like the Yeti, but it actually works. Awesome. All right, Shawn, what is your number 1?
Okay, and this is going to negate any positive spins that I've had so far. December 1983, Christmas Eve at my grandparents' house, I opened up the Kenner Ewok Village. It was fantastic. It had the little net you could raise and lower. I want a kids' play area on the moon of Endor. I want to be able to climb the trees, go into the Ewok huts. Maybe there's activities to do while you're in there. Just explore that forest area. I remember the first time I went to Star Tours and I thought, this is so cool. You see the trees and you see the walkers, and beyond that, it didn't do anything other than that. I wanted to do more on Endor. So a kids play area, kind of like Honey, I Shrunk the Kids a little bit, that kind of an environment.
See, I'm thinking Tom Sawyer's Island kind of a thing, or / Switch Family Robinson, but way more interactive than instead just look. That's not, I think you said that was going to be not as positive. That seems like a great idea.
More for kids.
Well, hey, we're all kids at heart.
Well, I think
you see the stormtrooper masks and you can play them and all sorts of things.
That's where the parents would go and rest, was at the Honey, I Shrunk the Kids thing. And, because the kids, it was like a safe place for them to go, and there were slides and things that they could climb on. And no, I think that's a great idea.
I love that.
You should pitch that to Disney.
I agree. Excellent. Well, you both had really fantastic lists and given me a lot of great ideas. And I spend a ridiculous amount of time thinking about this stuff. So you've given me more things to marinate on. For sure. So, but my number 1 is going to be a little more of a somber one. I want to keep the Halcyon open. I love the Halcyon. I love it. I've had some of my most fun Star Wars memories on that thing on my 2 times I've been fortunate enough to do it. I've had great memories with my son and my wife on it. It's just a wonderful thing. But even before I knew it was going to shut down, I thought, what if every 2 years they completely change the show? Right? Don't be so, like you mentioned at the top of the show, don't be so adherent to a certain timeline or a structure. Just have fun with it, right? Maybe for a couple years, make it original trilogy really, where Darth Vader's the big bad at the end, and you see Princess Leia and Luke Skywalker sneaking around instead of Rey and Chewbacca, and Kylo Ren shows up. Or, for the prequel fans, that would be Anakin and Obi-Wan, and then, they have to fight Sidious or Count Dooku or General Grievous. I mean, there's so many options of things you could do. That's just such a beautiful building. So many wonderful experiences. Obviously, we have to do something about the price tag to make it more affordable for people so they could be repeat flyers. which I totally get and totally makes sense. But it really is a special place. And if they could somehow salvage it, make it more affordable, and give us more options, I think that would be really amazing.
I think more options would increase your attendance over the time, because everybody's going to want to do a different adventure, and whether it's kind of like the Olympics, maybe not every 4 years, but every couple of years, be down for 6 months to change it out and go from there. I think that would, there's longevity there, I think.
I think the main thing though is it's that price tag. I think there's people who want to go. I mean, I wanted to go and I live right here, so it's not like I even have to pay for airfare, but it just didn't make sense financially, especially with my family size, for a family of 7 to go, and when we could go on like 2 cruises for the same price.
That's exactly right. And I think if we've learned anything, it's that Disney listens to people, and they are capable with so many gifted, visionary people that can make something like this work and make it affordable in such a way that families of every aspect ratio can enjoy it.
Listening to Coffee with Kenobi, you are, with Dan Z, the podcast you're looking for. This is... yes.
So that leads me to the close of the show. And the two of you have been fantastic, as I expected. And the great news, everybody, is that not only, of course, can you enjoy this show and listen to it whenever you so desire, but you can go and listen to the Hyperion Hub or read Lola Lamb Chops and get all kinds of great stuff. So every time, and this is true, Tanya, because I text you sometimes and tell you this, but if I'm not sure if something is going to be okay for Mason to watch, or if someone asks me a recommendation and I'm not sure, I tell them to go to LolaLambChops.com. Is it safe for kids? And you've got so many incredible articles on there that are just so much fun, and there's a lot of love and care, and that's what I expect from you. So please plug your website and let us know more about it.
Oh, well, thanks, Dan. So primarily, Lola Lamb Chops is I'm a Rotten Tomatoes approved critic, and most of my reviews are for parents, parent guides on whether something is kid friendly or not, and it runs the gamut of all kinds of movies, from animated films to PG-13, rated R movies, if it's okay for your teens. And then also I write a lot of Disney content now that I live here, just about restaurants, reviews, even whether some of the attractions are kid-friendly or not.
That's true. And I actually, when trying to open them, I checked your article right away and like, oh gosh, how's this going to be for somebody who doesn't like drops? But it seems like it'll be okay. Yes. Awesome. Yeah, be sure to go to LolaLambChops.com. And Shawn, of course, Shawn and John have one of my very favorite Disney podcasts, or favorite podcast period, the Hyperion Hub. The three of you have amazing chemistry. You know your stuff. You're authentic in your passion. You've got a lot of great experiences. It's impossible not to smile when you see the Hyperion Hub showing up on your podcast feed. So please tell us where we can find it and what's going on with the Hyperion Hub these days.
Yeah, so we are in the middle of our 4th year. So we started fall 19, spring 2020, and then COVID, and just kind of kept plugging on. But we are having a ball. John Redling Schaefer just got back from his East Coast trip, and I just got back from our West Coast trip. And I believe, as of this recording, the Aloyses are down there now. Mm-hmm. So we have a lot of fun. We've got some exciting guests coming up in the future. And so we're just, Hyperion Hub, available on anywhere you can find your podcasts. And we would love to hear from you.
Thank you, of course, to Shawn and Tania for sharing their time and talents with us and talking about these cool ideas for Disney and Star Wars and what they could do, extra things they could do for the theme parks. I also want to thank the official travel partner of Coffee with Kenobi, MAI and Mouse Fan Travel. CoffeeWithKenobi.com/MouseFanTravel is where you can go for a no-cost, no-obligation quote. They can help you plan your magical vacation on Galaxy's Edge, the theme parks, the cruise line, Star Wars Celebration, and more. And you can also support Coffee with Kenobi in the process. I also want to thank Thomas Coffee. As an avid coffee lover, it is my honor to partner with Thomas Coffee, the official brew of Coffee with Kenobi. they have offered us an exclusive code for CWK listeners. Head over to thomascoffee.com to check them out and make sure to use the code DANZCWK at checkout to save 10% on your order. That's DANZCWK10 at checkout to save 10% on your order. And while you're at it, you can also follow them on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok at Thomas Coffees. CWK Live is Tuesday nights at 7 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time at coffeewithkenobi.com/live. You can go to our Coffee with Kenobi Facebook group, the CWK Cafe, for your Star Wars thoughts, comments, reviews, and opinions. It's a family-friendly, spoiler and drama-free place that is coffeewithkenobi.com/community. The CWK Alliance is so important to me. It's, in fact, why Coffee with Kenobi is possible, because of the members of the CWK Alliance. Thanks to you, the podcast, Facebook Live, event coverage, and so much more comes to life. Find out how you can help the show for as little as $1 a month by joining the CWK Alliance, and you'll receive access to CWK Pour-Over, an exclusive weekly audio and video podcast not heard anywhere else. Members of the CWK Alliance All-Star level receive a video edition of CWK Pour-Over and access to a private Facebook group as well. Plus, CWK Alliance Grandmasters join me for a monthly live video call. Go to coffeewithkenobi.com/support or coffeewithkenobi.com/CWK Alliance to learn more and sign up today. And 10% of your monthly contributions go directly to the St. Jude Children's Hospital. Coffeewithkenobi.com is the website for Star Wars news, video, announcement, reviews, and so much more. I'm going to try to be a lot more active on that website, so be sure to go ahead and go to coffeewithkenobi.com. You can email me, DanZ at coffeewithkenobi.com, and connect with me on Twitter at Mr. Zer, MRZEHR, on Instagram at DanZerCWK, and on LinkedIn. Coffee with Kenobi is on social media. You can go to Twitter, Pinterest, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and subscribe to Coffee with Kenobi's YouTube channel. Please take a couple of minutes to rate and review the show on iTunes, which is Apple Podcasts now, I suppose, Google Podcasts, or Spotify. coffeewithkenobi.com/shops, where you can go for Coffee with Kenobi merchandise, including t-shirts, stickers, and more. And if you want to start a podcast or a blog or expand your existing brand, go to danzmedia.com. That is also where you can go to sign up and have me come to your school, conference, business, or organization and talk about how to tap into your strengths and help you bring out your very best. May the stars light your way, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me. And remember, this is the podcast you're looking for.
This podcast is not endorsed by the Walt Disney Company or Lucasfilm Limited. It is intended for entertainment and informational purposes only. The official Star Wars website can be found at www.starwars.com. Star Wars, all names, sounds, and any other Star Wars-related items are registered trademarks and or copyrights of Disney and their respective trademark and copyright holders. All original content of this podcast is the intellectual property of Coffee with Kenobi unless otherwise indicated.
This is the podcast you're looking for.